Welcome to the Hamumu Halloween Home Horror Hoedown, the podcast where we watch scary movies so you don't have to.
From award-winning to completely unknown, we take them all way too seriously.
I'm your host, Mike Hommel.
And I'm your host, Solange Hommel.
Now, warning, we use a ghoulish number of spoilers, so watch the movies first.
Second warning, we don't know anything about anything, so don't take us seriously as we take these movies seriously.
We got to go to the movies again.
We did. We have now seen a movie in the theaters in 2025.
Amazing. What could it have been called?
It was called Presents. Not like the kind you get at Christmas.
Even though we saw these Christmas presents in the theater in 2025, it is marked as a 2024 film on IMDb.
That's weird.
Well, it is February. Feels like should be a 2025er.
The years for movies on like IMDb are always off a little bit. I don't know what they base it on. But we saw Presents, which is billed as a horror film.
It is.
But in my mind, it is a ghost story, which I categorize differently as horror.
I mean, there
often
could definitely be horror ghost stories, but this is, I don't think, other than a scary human being, there's no element of scares in this entire movie.
I would have called this a suspense.
Sure. A bit of a suspenseful day in the house with a ghost.
Yes. Or even a mystery, like a ghost mystery. Because often there is that element with ghost stories of like you have to figure out over the course of the story what the driving force behind the ghost is.
I would say this is even a family drama that happens to have a ghost in it, although the ghost is an important part of the plot, because that's what it's really about, is the family drama.
Yes. It is very much built around the dynamics of this 4-person family, mom and dad, 2 teenagers, 1 boy, 1 girl.
And all of them having troubles.
Yes, they're very Joss Whedon in their inability to communicate with one another about what's going on in their lives.
Yeah, they are. We've got mom, who we think is committing some sort of financial crime or other sort of white-collar crime is going on, but we don't have any details. We don't even know what she does for a living.
No, in fact, I found it fascinating that the scenes where you're kind of hearing her talking to people on the phone and even talking to her husband about what's going on, or her son about sort of hinting that there was a thing, everything I did for you, because she's also very obsessed with her son being successful to the detriment of her relationship with her daughter. But even when she's talking about what's going on, all of the buzzwords that she uses and like the jargon, I couldn't pin it down as to what it was.
The big twist to this movie, which is not any kind of spoiler because it's the entire movie, is that we're seeing everything from the perspective of a ghost. So the camera is the ghost moving around the house and like kind of voyeuristically seeing all these interactions in the family. And I'm almost wondering if scenes like that, where she's on the phone with somebody from work and stuff, if those scenes are actually like intentionally nonsense, like it's...
Are you saying that this ghost is an unreliable narrator because he doesn't...
Yeah, because
it doesn't know what the mom does for a living either, so the things that she's saying don't make sense to it?
Like if the ghost didn't understand it, they need to make us not understand it, so they use all the wrong terminology and kind of mix it up. And I don't know if it's that or if it's just that they had a very clear idea of what they were doing and only showed us little bits so that we couldn't figure it out.
Yeah. I don't know. That's an interesting idea. I kind of like that idea because it adds to the depth of the ghost POV.
The ghost POV.
And I kind of love the idea that this ghost, who I thought of as all-knowing, all-seeing, within this house during this course of the story, is actually not all-knowing, all-seeing, and is limited somewhat by the fact that it is what it is. And so you said this big twist. I don't think I would have called that the big twist. I think that's the
it's the
gimmick of the movie or the...
Yeah, it's not really a twist because it's in the trailer.
Right. I think it is definitely a new thing, right?
Yeah,
it's a new
a fun
way to show this movie, and we can talk more about how we felt about it. But there is also a big twist that comes right at the very end.
Yes.
And I'm going to say up front, I liked this movie well enough, and I think this twist is important enough that if you intend to watch this movie, you should stop listening to this right now and go watch the movie and come back and listen to the rest of it
make sure
after
you come
you've
back.
watched. Of course.
Definitely come back.
Consider yourself tied to this podcast like the ghost is tied to the house.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so definitely watch the movie before you get spoiled because I think it's an important element of the movie. Okay, now that we've all watched the movie, the big spoiler at the end comes when we realize that the ghost is not the teenage daughter's friend who died, it's kind of assumed by the family through the whole movie that that's who this is.
Mm-hmm.
And hinted at enough that it was very much assumed by me that that's who it was, or that it was going to be one of those girls that she knew. But we find out that it is not one of the girls. It is, in fact, the brother, the son, who lives there.
But he's alive, though.
And the twist is really dependent on this little piece of lore they shove in during, one scene where it says time passes differently for ghosts, and the present and the past and the future are all mixed up. And so the ghost will be maybe confused about what's going on because it doesn't know what time it's in. Well, we find out later that actually means that a ghost from the future can be there interacting with the present because of this time confusion.
Yeah. And that feels like a big plot hole that doesn't make any sense. But I don't know. I really liked the idea. Time travel is always good fun. But then, if the ghost hadn't woken him up and gotten him up there, he wouldn't have died. And so it's like, but okay, what if it's just his ghost in general from maybe he died at age 80 and now his ghost is way back here and making him die sooner because this is an important thing he needs to do.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel the same way that you do in the sense that it does feel like it creates a weird time paradox that can't happen, right?
Yeah.
If you dig into it in terms of how we understand time. On the other hand, I feel like ghosts are inherently, if not religious, at least somewhat faith-based in the idea that they are dependent on an afterlife, right?
They sure are.
So I don't hate the idea that in the afterlife you have access to all the times, like that time is a meaningless concept.
Yeah.
And I feel like it maybe gives it a little wiggle room that I, with my, living human brain, can't understand. And I feel like I'm okay with that.
But is that wiggle room? I mean, it's like there wouldn't be a ghost if the ghost hadn't gone back.
No, you are thinking
linear
about it with your very linear living human brain.
I want to add on to that.
Okay.
To have a confession that I completely missed the big twist to this movie.
Yeah, you did.
And you had to tell me, and I was like, what? And then I got it, but it did have to be explained to me via extramovicular means. And that makes me feel really dumb.
No, it happened so fast at the end. It really did.
This is the thing. This is what I saw. At the end of the movie, the mom is so sad that her son has died, and she goes over to the mirror and she sees her son in the mirror and she goes, "Oh no!" And then she says, "You came back for her." And I was like, what are you talking about? But what I saw was just that now he's a ghost in the house, There was that ghost. Now there's also this ghost. And this one she could see. I don't know. I like the twist better.
See, here's the thing. I see why you got that, because it was very, like, that was basically all there was to it.
Yeah.
I think I was primed because they kept going to the mirror, but the ghost, the POV, never got in front of the mirror. I kept waiting. I'm like, this is the reveal, is when the ghost passes in front of the mirror, we're going to see it. We're going to see who it is. And so I was waiting. And so as soon as the POV was directly in front of the mirror, looking at the mirror, and we saw the sun, I was like, oh, that's who it is. Mm-hmm. I was ready for that to happen.
Again, you have caught on to this movie where I didn't. I never realized that. I was kind of enjoying various shots, especially at one point. They're like all out on the they're out on the patio, the back patio of the house, because there has just been a major ghost attack in the house. Mm-hmm. And they're like, oh, we're outside on the patio, we're fine. But they're having their little discussion on the patio and being filmed from inside the house because the ghost cannot leave the house. Mm-mm. And so it's just watching them through the window. And there's reflections all over every bit of that window, and they're all different. And I was just thinking about watching the YouTube channel Corridor Crew, and I'm like, wow, I bet they filmed this with no glass in the windows, and they digitally put in fake reflections on this whole thing, because otherwise they've got a whole camera crew to deal with. And and just whole tons of things throughout the movie where they had to do like that just to hide the camera.
Sure.
It's interesting.
Yeah, very possible. Okay, so there was that twist.
Yeah.
So now we have two things to talk about. First of all, let's go back and talk about Ghost Cam.
Back in time?
Yes. Ghost Cam. What did you think of a movie that was entirely told from the point of view of the camera, because the camera was the ghost watching the story unfold along with the audience?
I think it was a fun thing to do. It was a little hard to watch, as you said right at the beginning of the movie, getting a little motion sick because it would sway its way along through everything. And the whole movie was fisheyed because they were kind of doing this sort of ghost view. And I don't know why they had to do that, but that's how ghosts look. They see fisheyed.
Yeah, they're not limited by living human restrictions.
Yes.
I don't know.
We have flat vision.
Yeah, their eyes work differently. Yeah. Duh.
But, so it was a little distracting, but you get used to it. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think it was a good device. If the ghost had actually been something scary instead of not at all scary and just chill, I think that could have been interesting. And I'm disappointed we didn't get to see that. I'm ready for that movie where, we're seeing from the perspective of the ghost, but the ghost is out there trying to kill everybody in the house or whatever. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like, that could be interesting, although probably a little less suspenseful because you always know where it is, but kind of fun.
But there's still, there definitely would still be the element of who is the ghost. I think that's, if the ghost is, if you're looking out through the ghost's eyes, the mystery is always, whose eyes are these? Yeah. Right? But, and then also having information about the other characters kind of dribbled out based on what the ghost is seeing.
Yeah, that's fun.
I really liked the idea that the ghost, when the ghost came back, it didn't know who it was. It didn't know why it was there. It didn't know where it was. It didn't know who these people were or how the world worked. And so it's like trying to learn everything. And I think they did a really good job with the POV and with the camera work of conveying that. Like, I understood that before the psychic lady came in and told them that. I was like, this ghost is confused and scared, would, skitter off and hide in the closet regularly. And,
the closet was its safe space.
Yes. And it didn't understand things about the people. And so it was very curious. It was always going and trying to watch how they interacted, which then gave the story a very logical way, a reason for telling us what was going on, because the ghost was wanting to figure out what was going on. So I thought as a storytelling device, it worked really well. It was better than I expected it to be. I thought it was going to be cheesy, and it didn't come across as cheesy to me.
Well, the only cheesy thing about it is, the classic thing of, oh, the ghost happens to be seeing this conversation and it happens to see that conversation. It's all very convenient, which you're going to have in every movie.
Yeah. I did feel there were a number of like deep, dark, like cuts, like end scene cuts. And then we would like pick up again somewhere else. And that gave me the sense that like somehow what the ghost had observed had been edited for our benefit. Like we weren't seeing everything the ghost saw. It was like, okay, whatever. He's wandering around the house while everyone sleeps every night. We're not seeing that. Like,
yeah, it was not a real-time movie.
No. So, I think that made it so I wasn't too worried about the, oh, how convenient piece. Because I'm like,
true.
It was convenient because that was how the story was told.
Yeah,
those were the parts we needed to know.
If anybody was saying something interesting in the house, he was probably going to go over there.
Sure. Of course. Okay. Then what did you feel, or what did you think about the twist and the way the twist was handled? I mean, I guess not so much like the twist itself, but like how we were misdirected and then how the reveal and all of that. What did you think of all that?
I mean, there's the time travel plot hole issue, and it makes me wonder if, here's my explanation for the hole. Okay, this doesn't really make sense either, but
okay,
maybe instead of just killing the sister, the murderer was going to kill both of the siblings. And so in that alternate timeline where there was no ghost, they'd both be dead. And so he does die then, goes back in time, and the ghost is now there to end up saving her life, but not his.
Sure. I think that's the only way. I think the idea that the buddy, the friend, was going to also kill the brother, I think that's the only way to understand that. Because if he was there hanging out with him, and then mysteriously the brother falls asleep, and then sister gets murdered, and like no one's going to ask any questions about this friend who was over. But she didn't
get murdered. She had a drug overdose, just like those other two girls, because fentanyl's running around town, and the girls are taking it.
Okay, but still, the fact that he sat there and hung out with the brother, and the brother fell asleep under mysterious circumstances, like I feel like that was a recipe for him to get caught if he didn't also OD the brother somehow or kill the brother somehow.
Yeah, that's probably the way to do it. And like, oh, they were both taking drugs.
Which still would have been, like, the town would have been weirded out by that because that was not the brother's MO. Like, the sister, sure.
Yeah.
But the brother, they would have been like, this is not who he was. But I guess that makes sense, though, that he was going to die one way or the other. And this way, he made sure that he was the only one and that his sister was safe.
Yeah, that helps me because I didn't like the time travel problem. But I enjoyed it as a twist. Like, it's always good to have something more, some connection, because, you know, the classic The Open House problem is where a character has no connection to anything else in the movie. And you're like, why did we watch this?
Yeah.
So.
Would you have felt it was that if it did end up being like the sister's friend?
Well, there would have to be something else to the movie because, like, I don't know, like, why would...
I mean, the idea would have been that this was her best friend who was murdered by this guy who is hanging out on her, around her.
It just seems very bland.
I mean, and it does seem very, like, then I would have been like, well, why is she trapped in this house? How did she get to this house?
Well,
why isn't she trapped in her own house?
That has been my issue from the beginning of the movie where, you know, the family was thinking it was her. And I kept thinking, it's not her. She wouldn't be in this house. It's somebody from this house. Like, I thought it was some older ghost from a murder 30 years ago or whatever. Yeah. And it was going to have some sort of, like, I don't know, like it was going to form an emotional connection to this girl and help her accordingly, and, you know, not be, it was going to be someone out of the blue, like The Open House. Yeah. But, you know, who knows? Maybe they would read a book about her.
So I thought we were going to find out that one of the crappy decisions that the mom made, where she disregards her daughter and is just all about her son, is that this was the house that her daughter's best friend lived in and OD'd in. Likely that very room her daughter was living in, and that she snapped up this house when it got on the market because it got her son into the school district that he needed to be in.
They were the first people to see this house before it went on the market.
Yes. Like, I really thought that was going to be the thing. Now, there's something that happened. There's a point when the dad calls the real estate agent to ask, like, what happened in this house? And the real estate agent was like, nothing. I would have to disclose that to you. Legally, nothing. No one died in that house. And then I was like, oh, okay, well, then that's not who it is. But I think we were meant to think that the mom bought her daughter's best friend's house after she died.
That certainly would have been
to get her son into the right school for his swimming or whatever it was that he did.
Then I would be thinking, so did she murder the girl?
Right?
Trying to get him into school?
That would have been really weird too. Okay, so I think though, twists like that always hinge, and I have said this before, they always hinge on, can you go back and see the story again with the twist in mind and still have everything make sense? And I feel pretty good about all of that. In fact, it makes everything have more emotional impact. Like when the family is talking about the son and this creepy prank that he helped play on this friend from school or this girl from school. And, the whole time I'm thinking it's this other teenage girl who's the ghost, and the ghost trashes the son's room. That's the ghost attack that you were talking about earlier. Trashes the son's room, enraged as he's describing this thing that he did to this girl. And I'm like, that makes sense if this teenage girl is mad that he's doing these things to teenage girls. It makes even more sense and is even more poignant when it's the ghost, it's the son, the brother, listening to himself talk about a thing that he did and being so angry at his own actions that he destroys his own room. That gives me goosebumps, actually. And then also when he's in there and he's watching his sister make out with and have sex with this bad guy that he knows is a bad guy, and he tears up his safety closet in anger. It's that, I think part of it is just I don't want to be watching this. I wish they would stop. But it's also, I know something terrible is going to come of this. I wish I could do something to make it stop.
And that's a thing in this movie. The ghost seems very, very powerful compared to what we see in most movies. At one point, it cleans the girl's room. It's one of the cheesier scenes. It's things get picked up by strings and put elsewhere.
Yes, books floating through the air.
It looks really dumb, to be honest, but it's standard ghost stuff. And he just picks everything up and moves it. And other times, he's what else does he do? He
knocked the glass of...
Oh, yeah.
He knocked the screwdriver glass off the table so that she wouldn't drink it after it had been spiked. Yeah.
So he did things like that. And so then you're left with this other plot hole, which is, why didn't he do things to prevent this? Knock the glass off the table again, for example.
Yeah. Or even when he's trying to, he's trying to wake her up. He's trying to wake the brother up. He's trying to, impact things. And all he can do is make these, what look like sound waves happen. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, but you were able to impact this world physically multiple times throughout this movie. You can't slap this guy across the face. You can't throw something across the room at him. You can't knock a lamp over on his head.
Throw him out of a window that won't open.
Right? Or even trying to wake the brother up. Do something. Break a window. Smash the table. Do something. And he suddenly was incapable of doing things.
And that feels like an own goal for this movie, because most ghost movies have the ghost barely being able to affect reality. Mm-hmm. They can just maybe slightly move one object. Mm-hmm. And they could have done that. But in this movie, they made it do a lot of major things. And they could have just skipped that and they would have been fine. Yeah. So it's kind of weird.
They OP'd their ghost.
Oh, yes. The ghost was OP.
They needed to nerf him.
Yes, they should have nerfed the ghost pretty hard.
That's me using cool gamer lingo.
Thanks for the cool gamer lingo.
This movie was very much in my wheelhouse. Mm-hmm. I like a ghost story.
I do too.
I like a family drama. I like a little mystery. I like a good twist that doesn't completely fall apart when it happens. There were a lot of things I liked about this. Also, we have not talked about who was in the cast, but like Lucy Liu as the mom was amazing. And for some reason at the beginning, when I saw Chris Sullivan, who looked vaguely familiar, but when I've looked at his, like, what he's been in, I don't know where I would have seen him before. So I don't know why he looked familiar. But when I first saw him, I was like, ugh, I'm not going to like this character. I don't know why. Possibly because we're rewatching The Office right now, and he looks sort of like the guy who plays Roy in The Office, and I hate Roy in The Office so much that, like, maybe that was it. Anyway, I found Chris Sullivan to be like, he was the thing holding that whole family together.
Yeah.
He was the glue holding that family together. And I thought he did such a great job of playing that character and being this dad who just loves his kids and loves his wife and sees everything.
Trying.
Yes. And everything is spiraling out of control in like 3 different directions. And he's just trying to hold them all together. I thought that was so well done. And then the 2 kids, like, I thought they did a great job too.
Yeah.
And as far as like, I think I already said, I thought the ghost POV was going to be really cheesy. And instead, I really liked it. And I am actually interested to see what other people do with that device and how they use that to tell other stories. It's going to be abused and done very poorly, I'm sure. But I think there are some really interesting things that can be done with it. And I'm excited to see what else comes from that.
Don't you think they need a term like found footage? They could be like floating footage.
I mean, we already have a term because this has happened in other movies where it's not the whole movie, but there are bits and pieces of it. Yes.
Oh.
This movie was entirely done in Monster Vision.
That's true.
Which because of that, I would have thought it would have been terrible, but it wasn't. It was good. Yeah. All of it comes together really nicely for me. I enjoyed it. I was captivated through the whole movie. I think I would even watch this movie again now that I know the twist, just so that I could enjoy the extra layers that there are going to be to some of the scenes.
I was trying to remember what the very first shot of the movie was, and I think it was just some hallway in the house. It was just starting out.
The very first scene of the movie is you start in that closet and you travel Monster Vision through the entire house down to the front door where you see the family show up for the showing, and then the Monster Vision, the camera runs all the way back up and hides in the closet. Like, so you get a whole view of the whole house, and then it like vanishing back into the closet. Yeah.
Because I was thinking, at the end of the movie, we fly up into the clouds, and I thought maybe it came down out of the clouds, but it did not. It started in the closet.
It became aware of itself in the closet in this empty house. I did not enjoy that because that was a lot of like swinging camera, and with the fisheye and the movement of the camera and like all the turning around corners and
it was quite a
flights
start.
of stairs and stuff. It was that I started the movie with a little motion sickness, but that got better over time. So anyway, this was a good movie to me. I liked it. I am going to give it 4.5 deleted emails out of 5.
Ooh.
And that comes with a recommendation. Like, it's not 5 plus. Like, this isn't the best movie that was ever made, but it was really good. And I would definitely recommend that people watch it.
Okay. I had a moment in the theater with this movie where I was like, I'm really focused in on this movie. I'm really paying attention and interested. And boy, that's happened with, we watched Heretic in the theaters. We watched a couple others. And every time I'm so interested, then I'm like, so is it just being in the theater because the screen is all you can see? So of course you're invested in it. You're stuck in there.
Surround sound.
It's not fair. It's not a good comparison to just sitting on my couch watching a little TV. And that thought kind of stuck with me after the movie, to where the more I thought about the movie after seeing it, the less I liked it, because there are some things that are weird and not great. Again, it's not a horror movie. It's there's nothing scary about this ghost at all. It's just a device to tell this story about the teenage killer, and mostly about this family and how that affects them. And part of that is also the time travel conundrum. Mm-hmm. But then we discuss that, and I like the idea. I think it makes sense that if he hadn't woken up, he would have also been killed. And so that really solves the dilemma for me. So I don't know. I kind of feel like this, like it tricked me into liking it. And it wasn't that good, but I did enjoy it. There was one scene where I'm like, this is really bad, and I don't understand how it's in this movie. Like this movie is directed by Steven Soderbergh, and I do not know what he's done in the past, but I know that he's a big name, fancy director guy. It's not just that he sounds like Steven Spielberg. He's actually successful on his own. So I was shocked by this one scene where the psychic lady shows up to their house after she's already given them their reading, and she's outside talking to the dad and warning him about that she sees the window that won't open, and that's what it's all about. And it's such a stilted, fakey scene. Like the way they're standing, the places they're in, it's like, it's so bad. Mm-hmm. I don't even know how to explain it. It's like Razzie-worthy terrible. It's so stupid.
Also, the thing that she says is like, oh, it's something about the window that won't open. And it's not about a window that won't open. It's about the fact that these two boys go through an unopened window.
It's possible that window can't open, though.
Okay,
maybe.
but at no point did anyone even try to open this window.
That we saw, yeah.
It was dumb. It was a dumb clue that she was not a good psychic.
Yeah, a good psychic would have given you a good clue.
Right?
But that scene really bugged me so much. And it didn't sour the movie, really. It just, I was like, what is even happening right now? And it was a weird thing. But I liked the movie nonetheless, even though it's definitely not horror. So I think it's pretty good, but it's not great. And I would like to give it only 3.5 deleted emails out of 5 to get us real far apart from each other. It's crazy, right?
Yes, complete opposite.
And I want to add a bit of IMDb trivia that our listeners will not find on IMDb because it's not on there. I did this. I discovered this all by myself.
Okay.
I hope it's real. At the end of the movie, when they're all moving out, the dad and the daughter are outside, standing by the car, talking to each other. The mom is inside, like in the bay window, looking out, feeling sad for herself. The ghost comes down the stairs, and that's our camera, that's our point of view, and it's heading towards the front door so you can see her there. Underneath the front door, there are shadows of people walking around, like crew members kind of shuffling around out in front of there.
I did not see that.
I did, and I was like, what is that? Is that a ghost?
Interesting.
That's a thing I saw.
That is
stupid.
Interesting. Huh.
So be on the lookout for that, listeners.
Uh-huh.
Fight the horror of a world gone mad.
I don't have a hot political tip that's like directly tied to this movie. There's some things I could have done around, like sexual assault and fentanyl. And I don't know. There's some things I could have done to stretch. But I would like to take just a brief moment to remind everybody that Elon Musk is terrible.
Yeah.
And he is a Nazi, and he is actively attempting to coup the government by taking over and getting himself he's getting all his fingers into all the little governmental pies. And there's no reason why this man, who was not elected to any position
or appointed, really,
well,
I mean,
they made up an imaginary department for him to be appointed to. There's no reason why he should have access to all of the federal spending or all of our data, like all of our personal data information that the government has. Now Elon Musk has it. It's scary. It's terrifying. It is a sign of very bad things to come. And if you're not paying attention, you should be.
Also, we're saying this about 2 weeks before this podcast goes up. So
yeah,
I hope you're enjoying the fascist dictatorship of Elon Musk that we tried to warn you about, but didn't put the podcast up for 2 weeks.
Our ghosts will come back and warn you sooner. Just be paying attention because really bad things are happening. And currently the Trump administration is giving Hitler's 53 days to install fascism into the country a run for its money.
Big time.
All right. On that cheery note, we'll be back next week with another movie to distract your brain from the terribleness.
Yay, distraction.
Yay.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. I'm not using my NPR voice. Let me try that again. Hi, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing really well. How are you today?
I'm fantastic. I'm so happy to be here with you.
Yeah, it's a really lovely morning here with the fog closing in around us, just wrapped like a cozy blanket.